Hey guys, how's it going? Here we are with the last video actually for chapter 3, and we are going to talk about a little bit more on slopes and equations of lines, just like we did in the last video. So this is basically part 2 of section 3.3 and 3.4. And again, just a quick recap, remember that 3.5 actually came prior to both of these videos, so if you haven't watched those yet, make sure you guys go ahead and move on to those first. Alright, so as we get started today, let's go ahead and look at some of our goals for today. We're going to go ahead and try to write equations of lines. We're going to use slope to identify parallel and perpendicular lines in a coordinate plane, just kind of like what we did on the last video. And then we're also going to write equations of parallel and perpendicular lines in a coordinate plane. Okay, so let's go ahead and first off start with this. So the slope-intercept form of an equation of a line is y equals mx. Okay, so that is our slope-intercept form, which is in y equals mx plus b form, with m being our slope and b being our y-intercept. Now, notice on this particular equation, on equation number 1, we don't have something in that form. Okay, so what we're going to have to do first is get it into slope-intercept form by solving for y, and then from there we're going to go ahead and identify what our slope and y-intercept are. So again, in slope-intercept form, we want the y by itself. So let's go ahead and do that here. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and convert my 2x, which gives me negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. Once we have that, we can go ahead and divide everything by negative 3 to get the y all by itself. So our final answer here is y equals 2/3 x minus 2. That negative 2 over negative 3 just turns into a positive 2 over 3, and 6 divided by negative 3 is just a negative 2. So from here, we can write our final answer. Alright, if that's going to find our slope and y-intercept, like it's over here. So my slope is 2/3, and my b, or my y-intercept, is actually, remember we started at point 0, negative. Okay? Alright, why don't we go ahead and take a look at, I'm actually going to go ahead and skip number 2. Let's go ahead and look at number 3. So on number 3, again, we want to get this in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to subtract the 6x because I want the y by itself. We get negative y equals negative 6x minus 9. And then notice we have a negative here, guys. We got to get rid of that. We basically have to divide everything by negative 1, because really what's in front of that y is a negative 1. So we have to divide everything by negative 1 to get a final answer of y equals 6x plus 9. Again, negative divided by a negative is always a positive. So that negative 6 divided by negative 1 is a positive 6. Same thing with the 9. So finally, my slope here is 6. And I'm actually going to write it as 6 over 1 because I like to write slopes as fractions. And then my y-intercept is 0, comma 9. Alright, the reason why I skipped number 2 is because I want you guys to try it on your own. So go ahead and try that one. Pause the video right now and try that on your own. Alright guys, hopefully you are all done with number 2. I'm going to go ahead and just go through this really quick. Okay, so I went through that kind of quick, but I think you guys have already had a chance to try that out, so now you could just confirm your answer. Again, notice, just real quick, in front of this x here, guys, there's really a 1. So when you divide by 2, it's just 1/2 for your slope. Okay, so that's just basically how to solve for y to get it in slope-intercept form, because again, as you guys know, our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and keep going. So it says for number 4, to determine whether the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Well, okay, let's remember a little bit. Parallel means we have same. Perpendicular means we have opposite and reciprocal slopes. And then obviously neither it would be if it doesn't fit into any of those categories. So what do we have to do? Well, we have to find what the slope is on each of these lines. Well, we can't really do that from the information we're given, but we know we can write it in slope-intercept form, and then we could definitely find out what it is that our slope is. So I'm actually going to zoom in here for a little bit. On both of these lines, go ahead and solve for y. I'm going to subtract for x, subtract 4x. I get 5y equals negative x plus 2. I'm going to divide everything by 5 to get a final answer here of y equals negative 4/5 x plus 2/5. Okay, now remember, just as a quick recap, slope-intercept form is y equals b. So my slope here, whoops, there we go. My slope here is actually negative 4/5. I'm actually going to write that over here on the side. So the slope of line R is negative 4/5. Let's just keep this here on the side, and we will compare it to the slope of line F. So let's go ahead and once again solve for the y. So I'm going to subtract fx. I get 4y equals negative 5x plus 3. Now I just have to get rid of this 4. Remember, you have to divide everything by 4, every single term by 4. So we get a final answer here of y equals negative 5/4 x plus 3/4. And once again, guys, only real piece of information that I need from this is the slope. So this is the only thing I'm interested in. So that is a negative 5/4. So my slope of line S equals negative 5/4. Now we can make our determination of whether these lines are going to be parallel, perpendicular, or neither. And as we're looking at this, some of you guys might be thinking, oh, it's perpendicular. Well, not quite, because remember, yes, they are reciprocals. Instead of the negative 4 on top and the 5 on the bottom, they switched. The 5 is on the top and the 4 on the bottom. However, they are not opposite, meaning one is not positive and the other negative. They're both negative, meaning it doesn't fulfill this last piece of perpendicular lines, which is having an opposite slope. So in this case, we actually have neither. They are not the same and they're not opposite reciprocals, so our answer is neither. Okay. So hopefully that made a little bit more sense now that we took a quick look at both of those slopes to determine that neither of those are parallel or perpendicular to one another. Okay, so let's keep going. Now, on this one, for 5 through 7, it says write the equation of a line with the given slope that passes through the given point. So we're given quite a bit of information here. Let's see if we can figure this out. First off, because I like to constantly be writing and make sure that I have all my information right, I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. That's one thing that we know for sure, for a fact. Okay? Let me zoom in here. So I do know my slope. In this case, it's going to be -4. And I also know something else. This is an ordered pair, which means this is an x and this is a y. Okay, well, how does that help us? Well, it does help us because that means I can plug in this x in here, and I can plug in this y in here. The only thing I would really need to find now is this, my b value. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. Let's substitute it all in. So this would be 3 equals -4 times x, and in this case x is 2, plus b. Okay, so what is this? This is 3 equals -8 plus b. If I add the 8 to the other side to get the b all by itself, I get b equals 11. Okay, well, let's see. That's all I need. In order to write something in y equals mb, I need, as I said in the past, a slope, which I was given here, and I need a y-intercept, which I was given here. So my final answer here is going to be y equals -4 x plus 11. All right. So once again, I had everything. The only thing I was missing, it was the b, but I can find the b by substituting all those values. I'll do one more with you guys, and then I'm going to have you guys try out one on your own. Okay. Again, just like before, I'm going to skip number 6. I'm going to actually go ahead and do letter B. I'm sorry, excuse me, number 7. So let's go ahead and do number 7 here. Once again, I'm going to write my letters underneath my -1 and my 0. Okay. And I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. And once again, I have my slope, -2/3. That's going to go in here. I have my x. It's going to go in there. And I have my y. It's going to go in there. And the only thing I need to find is my b value. So let's go ahead and substitute a little bit. So I have 0 equals -2/3 times -1 plus b. 0 equals -2/3 times a -1 is actually +2/3. And then finally, if I subtract 2/3 from both sides, I'm just going to get my b all by itself now. And what will that be? It's going to be -2/3. So my final answer is going to be y equals -2/3 x minus my 2/3, which I just found, my b value. Okay, this one just so happens that the m and the y intercept were the exact same number. Okay, go ahead and pause the video at this time and please try out problem number 6. Alright guys, so hopefully you guys had a chance to try out number 6, and once again I'm going to run through this really quick here because you guys should have already had a chance to try it out. I'm just going to go ahead and do the problem so you can check your answer. Okay, so all I'm doing right now is substituting in all the values. I apologize for that little message coming up each time. It's just that it's detecting my hand along with my pen, so it's thinking I'm wanting to do a different operation. But anyways, your final answer should have been 1/2 x plus 4. 1/2 x plus 4. So once again, all of our final answers were in slope-intercept form, and we were able to find our b value. Okay, so what we did was write the equation of the line with the given slope that passes through that point. We substituted all the values we knew. The only one we were ever missing on any of these was our b value, and that's exactly what we went ahead and found. Okay. All right, let's move on to something a little bit different. Now, this is once again something you guys might have seen, or actually I know for a fact you have seen during your time in algebra, but for now, let's go ahead and recap a little bit. That is called the point slope form of the equation of a line. All right, and that one looks just like this. It is y1 equals parentheses, okay, where m, and usually you're going to be given an m, so given m, or in other words, your slope, and a point, which is your x1, y1. Okay, so if you're given a point and a slope, you can write something in point slope form. Okay, but definitely make sure you guys try to memorize this formula right there. That is called point slope form. All right, so now we're going to basically do the same exact problems we did up top. Okay, but now we're going to apply them a little bit differently. All right, and you'll notice that we're going to get the exact same answers. Well, let's go ahead and do it. Actually, let me zoom up here a little bit. Okay. So now it says, write an equation in slope-intercept form with the given point and slope. Okay. Now, we're going to make use of this point slope form, which means that we're going to have given an m, and we're also going to be given a x1, y1. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So this right here is my x1, y1 now, and then negative 4 is obviously my m, my slope. Let's see if we can plug it all into our equation that we have up here. So this is what it should look like. It should look like this. It should look y minus, and then my y1, which in this case is a 3, equals my slope, which is negative 4, parentheses, x minus, and my x1 in this case is my 3. That is exactly what it should look like, guys. Again, let me reiterate. This time my slope is negative 4, so I plugged it in there. My x1 was 2. Oh, did I mess that up? Yep, I did. Let me fix it real quick. This should be a 2. So my x1 is 2, and then my y1 is 3. So I use the formula from up top, from right up here, to write my equation, okay? But now, notice what it says up on the instructions. It says write an equation in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form does not look like this. It looks like this. Y equals mx plus b. So what do I have to do now? I am actually going to have to do this. I'm going to have to distribute the slope to both of those numbers inside of the parentheses. So let's go ahead and do that now. So this is going to be y minus 3. I haven't even touched that. But now I have negative 4x, and then negative 4 times negative 2 is 8. Alright, that's looking a little better. But I want y all by itself, because in the end, we're really just trying to get y all by itself here. Get slope, point slopes, in slope-intercept form. So this is plus 3. So then we get y equals negative 4x plus 11. And look at that. That should look very similar to an answer that you got. We just did a different strategy. So negative 4x plus 11. And look at that. Look at the answer for number 5. Negative 4x plus 11. But now notice that in the first ones, we just called them x comma y. Now we're saying that the point that we're given is actually x1, y1. Okay? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do one more with you guys, and then I'm going to have you try one on your own. So once again, I'm going to skip number 9 and go straight to number 10. Let's go ahead and do that one. And then you guys will. So once again, I want to write it in. Y minus y1 equals x minus 1. That is called point slope. My x1, y1 are negative 1 and 0. And then my m is negative 2/3. So my m, my x1, and my y1. So I'm going to go ahead and plug those values in here, and in here. Notice my y and my x, these two values right here are just going to stay as that, y and x. Let's do it. So this is y minus my y1 is 0 equals m. Oh, that's negative 2/3. And then this is x minus my x1, which is a negative 1. And look at that. There's a few things that I noticed right away here. Well, first off, y minus 0, well, that's just y. So I'm going to rewrite this as y equals negative 2/3. And then what happens here? These two negatives, don't they become a positive? So this is really x plus 1. Okay, it kind of looks like it's in slope-intercept form, but not quite. Because we haven't gotten rid of that parentheses. We got to get rid of that parentheses by distributing. So my final answer really is y equals negative 2/3 x. And then negative 2/3 times 1 is just another negative 2/3. And look at that. That is exactly what we had on the above answer. So y equals negative 2/3 x minus 2/3. Awesome. All right, guys, what I want you guys to do is go ahead and try number 9 on your own. So go ahead and pause the video at this time. Use point slope, guys. Again, you're given a point and a slope, so try using point slope. All right, go ahead and try it out. All right, guys, so I'm going to run through this really quick. Again, you should have had a chance to try it out on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and call this x1, y1, and then I'm going to write it in y minus 1 equals x minus x1. So I'm just going to go straight to substituting all the values in. So this is y minus a negative 1 equals 1/2 x minus a negative 10. Well, I notice that this is really a plus 1 and a plus 10. So I have x equals 1/2 x plus 10. Now all I really have to do is distribute here. So what do I get? I get y plus 1 equals 1/2 x plus 5. And then I almost have the y all by itself. I just have to get rid of 1 here. So I really have y equals 1/2 x plus 4. And I do believe that was the exact same answer we had up top. Y equals 1/2 x plus 4. So, similar answers, pretty similar procedures because we're substituting in values, but we were using different types of forms, different types of linear forms. First, we used slope-intercept, and we went straight to that. Now we're going from point slope to slope-intercept. Okay, but we should get the same type of answer. You'll notice later on in geometry or later on in algebra 2 or advanced algebra, both of them have their advantages, guys. So this is why we teach you guys both of those methods. All right, guys, we're nearly there. the next 5 minutes or so here. So let's go ahead and read through these few problems here. It says line N has the equation y equals negative 1/3 x minus 1. Find the equation of line M that is parallel to line N that passes through the point 3, 2. Okay, well, we can do that. If line N, let me ask you guys this. What slope does line N have? Line N has a slope of negative 1. Okay, negative 1/3. Okay, we want to find the equation of a line M that is parallel. Okay, it is parallel. So the slope of line M has to be what if it's parallel? It has to be the same. So negative 1/3 is also going to be my slope for that line. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight it here. So I have the slope that I'm going to use. And I'm also given that it has to go through these points. X1, Y1. All right, well, I have what I need. What do I have? I have a point. Okay. I have a slope, the one I just found, negative 1/3. And I have everything I need, basically. A point and a slope means I have to use a point slope form. So let's go ahead and do it. So y minus y1 equals m. X minus x1. Let's substitute all our values in here. We have y minus 2 equals negative 1/3. X minus my x1, which is 3. I can go to distributing. We get y minus 2 equals negative 1/3 x. And actually, negative 1/3 times negative 3 is a positive 1. And then finally, I have to add a 2 to the other side to give me my final answer of y equals negative 1/3 x plus 3. Okay, so notice what we did. We knew we had to write it in point slope. Okay, we knew we had a point and a slope, and my new slope, which is parallel, means it had to be the same exact one as my line N, which was negative 1/3, so I used the same slope. I plugged it all into my point slope form, distributed, and solved. So my equation here for my final answer was, once again, y equals negative 1/3 x plus 3. Okay. All right. I'm going to actually go ahead and let you guys try this one on your own. I'll get you guys started off, though. Let's see. It says the line L has an equation of negative 2x plus 1. Find an equation of a line K that passes through the point 2, negative 4 and is perpendicular to L. Perpendicular to L, meaning it's going to have opposite and reciprocal slope to the other slope. Well, what is the original slope from line L? Let's write them down. The slope from line L is negative 2. Really, it's negative 2 over 1. So what does that mean? My line K that I want to write the equation for has to have opposite of the slope. So opposite of a negative is a positive, and the flip version of 2 over 1 is 1 over 2. So my new slope that I have to use is 1 over. That's it. That's my slope. Okay, I have a slope. What else do I have? Well, I have a point right here. So I have an x1 and a y1. So I can go straight to, again, point slope form. Go ahead and do this. This is y minus y1 is a negative 4. And then m x minus my x1, which is 2. Notice this turns into a plus here, and I can distribute those out now. So this gives me y plus 4 equals 1/2 x minus, and that is a 1. 1/2 times 2 is, I'm sorry, 1/2 times negative 2 is a negative 1. Please go ahead and double check that on your calculator. Last thing I need to do is get the 4 out, get the y out there. So I have to get rid of the 4 by subtracting 4 for a final answer of y equals 1/2 x minus 5. So this is the equation for this new line k that we wanted. And I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it on the line. Y equals 1/2 x minus 5. Again, guys, if it helps, rewrite the original equation. Y minus y1 equals m, parentheses, x minus x. And I realize I just kind of did the problem for you, so I'll get you guys started off on the next one, and then you guys will do it on your own. All right. So this next one, let's see what it's asking. It says, write the equation of a line that passes through the points -3, -6, and is parallel to the line x plus 1 equals -5. Okay, well, problem here is that line's not even in slope-intercept form, so I can't even tell what my slope is, but I have a way of solving that. Just if I both sides, I get y equals -x minus 5. So really, this is a -1. So my original line had a slope of -1, okay? And I want something that is parallel. So my new m, I'm gonna call it m. My new m, my new slope has to also be -1. So I have everything I need. I have a slope, I have a point, okay? So now that you guys should be able to figure out how to put this in point slope form. I'll start you guys off once again. Y minus 1 equals m, x minus x1. Go ahead and substitute all your values in there, distribute, and find your final answer. So go ahead and give that a shot, and then we will finish off there. So go ahead and try that out. Alright guys, hopefully you had a shot to try that one out. The final answer here should have been y equals -1x plus 3. Or you might have written y equals -x 3. So again, if that one didn't make sense, guys, make sure you guys go ahead and recheck some of the top videos or the top part of these notes to verify that you know how to do this. Okay? Let's go over number 14. Last one of these word problems. It says, write the equation of a line that passes through the point -3, -4. I already know I have a point here, and I'm going to call this x, y1, and it's perpendicular. That's important there, guys. It's perpendicular. So I need an opposite and reciprocal slope to the line 9x minus 3y equals 3. Well, we have a similar scenario with number 13. We can't just tell what my slope is. So what I have to do is turn that into a slope-intercept form first. And we do that by, kind of like what we did at the very beginning of this video, getting rid of the x's so we can isolate the y. So I got -3y, I have to -3. So I really have y equals a positive 3x minus 1. That is my original equation. So the slope of my original equation, I'm going to call it m, is what? It's 3, or 3 over 1, whichever way you want to write it. I'm actually going to go ahead and write it as 1. Okay? But now we want something that is perpendicular to that. So my perpendicular slope has to be opposite and reciprocal. And remember, that's just the symbol for perpendicular, that little upside down T. All right. And the slope for a perpendicular line to that one means it has to be opposite, because the first slope that I was given is a positive 3 over 1. My new slope has to be a negative, and it also has to be the flipped version, or the reciprocal. So really my slope here is negative 1 over 3. This is my new slope. This is the one I'm going to be using to plug everything into. And I also have my point. I can go straight to writing point slope. So it's y minus y1 equals x minus x1. If I plug it all in, I get y minus a negative 4 equals negative 1/3, x minus a negative 3. These all turn into positives. Let me change those. These are all positive, so I'll rewrite it. It's y plus 4 equals negative 1/3, x plus 3. If I distribute now, I'm going to get y plus 4 equals negative 1/3 x, and negative 1/3 times 3 is a negative 1. Finally, subtract, whoops, getting ahead of myself here. Subtract the 4 from both sides to isolate the y to get a final answer of y equals negative 1/3 x minus 5. So y equals negative 1/3 x minus 5. Okay, so we're definitely making use of that slope-intercept and that point-slope form. All right, so it's important that you understand which of those two you might need on any of these problems. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys off on the final few problems here. I'm going to go ahead and solve the first one for you, and I'm going to have you try the other two on your own, and I'll just go ahead and write down the answers for you guys so you can double check your answers. So let's go over the first one. We are given 2 points, guys, but look at the directions. It says write an equation in slope-intercept form. In slope-intercept form, which is that, okay? If I'm given 2 points. Well, that doesn't give me much information here, right? We're missing a lot of information. If I just have 2 points, then I have an x1, y1, and an x2, y2. Well, I don't have a slope, and I don't have a y-intercept, so I can't do that. However, I can find a slope. Remember your slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's go ahead and figure out our slope. Plug it all in. So m equals 5 minus 1 over negative 3 minus 3 gives me 4 over negative 6, and negative 2 over 3. This is the slope I'm going to need. Okay, negative 2 over 3. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this because I know I'm going to need the slope. Well, okay, now what? I have a slope and I have points. Wait, point and slopes. Point and slope. So I can write something in point-slope form. So remember that one. Y minus y1 equals x minus x1. Well, I have everything I need. I have a slope and I have an x1, y1. Let's do it. So I have y, oh, let me do it in another color so it's not interfering here. So y minus my y1, let's see what y1 is. It's a 1 equals negative 2/3 x minus x1, which is 3. Now I can distribute, and I'm going to get y minus 1 equals negative 3rd x, and I believe this is a positive 2. Finally, just add the 1 over to the other side to get the y all by itself, and we get a final answer of y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. So y equals negative 2/3 plus 3. Okay, guys, so these are the formulas that you're going to need. Slope-intercept, slope formula, and point slope formula. You're going to need all three of those to solve this problem. So use example number 15 to solve 16 and 17, and I'll come back and write down the answers for you so you can double check your answers. All right, go ahead and pause the video right now and try those out. All right, guys, so if you tried these out, the answers you should have gotten y equals negative 3x plus 11, and y equals negative 1/4 x plus 11. I realize on that one you might have thought you got a wrong answer because you had a fraction for your y-intercept, but that's totally fine, guys. You can get fractions as the y-intercept. Okay, so those are the two answers for your final problems, guys. Again, if you followed similar procedures to what we did on number 15, you should have been fine. But if you didn't, make sure you guys go ahead and get a hold of someone to help you out. One of your teachers, one of the math aides, somebody in the math resource center. But make sure you guys get your questions answered. All right, guys, I think that's it for me today. So I will go ahead and end this video here, and we will be able to move on to chapter 4. All right, guys, have a good one.